Sonic Mania may have made me wet my pants. This was Sonic's only game of 2017. That's right, the only one. And I'm not talking about this visual novel here where you only press one button to move through the story. Sonic Mania was a breath of fresh air for Sonic fans everywhere, a tight platform with callbacks to the original trilogy with both old levels and new ones. A lot worked here, and I wanted to see why that is, take it out for dinner, get to know it, take it home, strip it naked, and see it for what it is. And I know Sonic is no stranger to 2D outings, but I'd argue Sonic Mania nails the core appeal of Sonic's level design. To put it shortly, Sonic's 2D level design is all about going fast and staying fast, in ways such as gaining momentum on slopes or platforming superbly in order to keep your speed up. Now I know not all Sonic levels are like this, some are more focused on platforming, but typically we know a Sonic game is good when it reaches that happy balance of platforming and speed. If you can balance out the slow sections with fast sections, it makes it sort of like a reward. Too much of one or the other, and the level can fall apart. That's why Sonic Mania is a blessing, I don't love every single one of these levels, but I don't loathe any of them either. None of them are a Marble Zone, a Sandopolis, a Labyrinth, son of a bitch zone, you son of a bitch, you're never gonna be in a game again! So today, I wanted to look into what makes a Sonic Mania level. So how am I gonna do this? Well, it'd be easy to break down a level like Green Hill Zone being the first level and establishing many of the things, but fuck it! Tell me, how many times will they reuse this level? Okay, wow. This sentence is still going, isn't it? So instead, I'll do something different. We're going to talk about a level that I initially disliked upon its announcement of being in Sonic Mania. A level where the original, I actually kind of despise. Yeah, it's really weird. You come out of Mushroom Hill, a level all about speed, and then you go to this. Waiting the level. And I'd argue at least half the time you spend in this level is waiting for these elevators or switches. Actually, you know what? Let's see that. Let's see if I go in my software to edit this, let's see where in this level of Act 2 I actually have to wait. So, after checking, literally, half of the level is you waiting for other things to happen. Of course, I did include that boss fight with the laser where it shoots his own ship, because really the whole fight you're just dodging the slowest laser in existence. Do you really hate your level this much, my man? Do you want to talk about some of the feelings you're harboring? I didn't like it in Sonic & Knuckles, and I certainly wasn't charged about it being in Sonic Mania. So I'm going to break down exactly how this level came to life, from the mechanics introduced in Act 1 to building upon them in Act 2. Let's begin with Act 1, and what I really appreciate about this level, and as we're going to go through, it shows you all of its level's unique mechanics within the first 2 minutes of the level. That's it, it's a concise, valuable skill. So you get on, the music's out, and you see this thing. Should you avoid it? Should you step on it? You have no other way up, so if you avoid it, you got mad trust issues. So you get on it, and you get launched into this curve. If you don't press anything, you should just roll through most of this part. You see what's happening. And this part is exactly the same as how it appeared in the original Flying Battery, but after here, they change up a few things that really benefit showing the player what the level's all about. Unlike in Sonic 3, this one introduces you to one of the level's main mechanics, the monkey bars. But it does it in a more linear way. You know these little foot measuring things that launch you? So you step on it and it launches you into the monkey bar. So now you can grab onto these things, and if you move to the left, you move to the left. Then one drops you down, and now you can see how they work. Whoa! Also, we see that these metal pancake sprinklers shoot fire. And other than this flamethrower being, it actually shows you how the mechanic works better than it did in the first Flying Battery. This one, you just run into it. Like, how could you see that coming? Instead, it puts you on the monkey bar, so whether you're here, or here, it shows you, mans aren't hot and we're keeping it that way. Then you descend into the ship with more of what we've already seen, except now it mixes up these properties. You can see that you actually have to dodge these sprinklers, and then there's these mouses! Ah, be gone, filth! So using what you know about these monkey bars, you can go down and all the way to the right, but if you're a little rascal, you can actually go to the left and get a fire shield. And I also like to point out they put this here so you can see that the fire shield makes you immune to the fire shooter. And the only way you knew there was a fire shooter there is if you already went through there. So that's why they loop it. How are they this smart? But then you hit outside and it's kind of getting scary. There's like a drop there. You fall, you're gonna break your ankle, and that hurts. I remember in the first Flying Battery, I'd always run really fast and then just fly off and die because I didn't know that it was a death plane. Luckily, we have these bars and rings above us to help us navigate our way through the platforms. It also shows us there's these mesh cylinders again. As we continue, it's a pretty straight shoot to the foot measuring thing. But down here, you'll notice a little ring box. How do you get it? Even if you're speeding by, the game will show you that it is there if you want to go see it. It's smart. It's like, yo, you know you can go down here, right? There's something here. But anyways, we go up to the first checkpoint. Above and below the mesh cylinders, we actually have two paths, both that lead to the level's main mechanic, the magnets. But this is very smart, even if you
slide to the left. Slide to the right.
It always gives you an eclectic shield. And immediately after you get it, the magnets are attracted to you because you're a really cute guy, you know? I didn't want to be weird. And again, you learn what the mechanic does in a safe environment. And you're even rewarded if you manage to keep this shield with an alternate path that just gives you rings. Finally, we fly to the top of the ship with these propellers that were in the original flying battery. This is one of the last reoccurring objects or mechanics in the level. And they're pretty straightforward in how they operate. They have rings to show you the way also. And did you notice we did a full tour outside, back inside, down, through, up, and to the top of the flying battery? The ink flows down into the dark puddle. How can I write love into reality? I'll tell you, with this level and its design. If I had to teach a class on flying battery to you, bam, this is the course syllabus. And now you got a good idea. You're gonna pass this class, and you would pass with flying colors. So what? So what? They put all of these at the beginning of the level so you can see how exactly they work in a safe environment, so later in the second half they can start remixing how they appear. Let's take a look. The monkey bars are now used in different areas with enemies and platforming. These flame switches are used for going upward. We see a bunch more of these meshes, and more or less, the level gives you harder situations to navigate through. Whether this means the bottom of the ship with the platforming or the top of the ship with the propellers. That sentence was like the flying batteries, like A+ Act 1, you're a class act. Now that we've seen what this level's all about and mastered the familiar set pieces, it's time to get serious. Immediately it'll become apparent that Act 2 is split into two distinct paths, but even here, in the first minute of each of these paths, you'll see all the unique mechanics introduced in Act 1. So don't blink. But yeah, it actually introduces all of this to you in the first minute, so it can get into the new stuff fairly quickly. Act 2 builds on the whole upper and lower decks of the ship with now an exterior, interior crocodile alligator.
Y'all still riding 20s, y'all some Oompa Loompas.
But what's solely new in this act? Well, we have your favorite animes categorized into heaps, electric fields powering the flying battery, wind outside on top of the ship, these ball and chains, and my personal favorite.
Look at all those chickens!
Now, they don't just throw these new things at you, they ease into them similar to how they did in the first act. Like the chickens, several of them have ring boxes behind them in case you do get sniped by them, so they don't totally kill you if you run into one of their bullets. These electric field things also give you a freebie the first time you encounter them, so you can't see that you can destroy them, but they also emit an electrical charge that could hurt you. When I went through this a couple times, it became very clear that they set up each of these distinct paths so they had their own themes, but when you collect all of them together, whether that's the propellers, the chickens defending it, or the bottom with the electrical system, it's very clear that they set all of this up to really bring to life this airship with all its working parts. And the theming is really good, and I really respect this compared to the original flying battery. I'm glad you asked, Mr. Cat. No, I really wish you just got it, but I have to explain for you, dumbass, but it can't be helped. Act 1 and 2 condition the player with mechanics, enemies, set pieces, situations, so they know how to handle them later. This is done so they can eventually remix these mechanics and eventually make it so platforming and going fast are one in one, and it's really fun. And some people don't like this, but Sonic levels are constructed so you go through the slow sections, the platforming, so you can get to the speed sections. It punches you right in the gut with all this dopamine, and it just feels fantastic. My absolute favorite moment is this. They show you can go on top of the ship. They show you can go on the bottom of the ship, and that you can re-enter the ship. So now, you can do all of the ship.
Oh, never find a love like this.
I think I need another bath. And truthfully, this whole level is constructed so much better than the original flying battery. The original was just slow and tedious. You know what I'm talking about. Those dumbass elevators, thank God they didn't make a return. And even the bosses are just, what is this? This guy's hitting himself because he hates this level. And Eggman, what is this pathetic shit? He's all, oh, I missed him. Oh, man. Shut up, go away. Who woke me up from my nap? A common sewer rat! All in all, Flying Battery is one of my favorite levels in Sonic Mania because of how it took mechanics from the classic level and reworked them and organized them to make it work in a speed-based game. Of course, that's really challenging because many of these mechanics force you into slow, methodical platforming sections. It's just by how they're designed. Yet the Sonic Mania team found a way to make these mechanics work without overstaying their welcome. I know I've been spouting crazy stuff, but with a game like Sonic Mania, the nuance is incredibly important. Not focusing on it can make a tedious, slow, and arduous level. But if you balance it, if you make the mechanics not overstay their welcome and you make them work within a speed-based game, it can be a very dynamic and enjoyable level. And there's nothing else to say. It's good. Be gone, fiend! So next time someone says Sonic Forces is better than Sonic Mania, you hit them with the facts.
Wow, it's so... Oh my god! Oh Christ!
Yeah, true level, bitch.
Whew, I really liked making this video, guys. I don't know, the editing, the humor. I got to talk about one of my favorite levels in Sonic Mania. It's just a good time all around. So if you liked it too, that's it. Thank you. If you liked the video, commented, thank you. And just in general, thank you to everybody who watches and comments and talks about my content and shares it. It really makes me feel good that my stuff is resonating with you because this is really I feel like this is my true nature and people like it and it feels good. Thank you to the patrons as well. I know I talk to you on the server all the time on Discord, but thank you all of you for supporting into this following month. And I think at the $10 reward is probably going to be keychains and then later in the year mugs. Haven't decided. If you're interested in supporting me directly, Patreon's the best way, but I don't need to say the spiel anymore. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for watching again, and I will see ya on the flip side.